microphones. Will you get in here?
Okay, you ready?
Get in here. Pop. Nah, sit right here by Jane. Yeah, come on. Yep. Come on over. If you got to get up and leave, it's no big deal. It's fine. You're not interrupting me and you're not in the way. But just sit there. So with the whole, okay, fine. Yeah, so the whole Corona thing doesn't look like we're preaching to a morgue. You're so difficult. So difficult. Okay, we ready?
Yep.
Wow, we got a lot to cover, but we're going to get going. 6:11. All right, every 10 minutes. Caitlin, yes? Yep. All right, ready? You guys know what to do when we go live, yes? Okay. You've all been trained, properly trained. If you need one of these guys to move somewhere, let me know.
Hold on.
How are we already on? Oh no, have we been live this whole time? Huh?
Just now came up.
Okay, we're good?
Go ahead and get started.
Okay. Welcome. I am Dr. Brett Spradlin. We are here at Divine Design, Natural Health, out of control crowd that goes absolutely crazy. Out of control, like I said, completely out of control. We got a lot of stuff to throw at you tonight. Tonight is part 2 of Biblical First Aid Essential Oils. There is a lot of talk about essential oils. There's a lot of overwhelming amounts of information out there. So I'm coming to you to let you know what we're doing here, and to give you some things, some facts and some figures about essential oils, why you need them. Here's a few reasons, just off the top of my head. Not even in the notes yet. This is extra value for what you paid to get here. Everybody's looking for options to chemical products in their homes. Many people are becoming aware of the chemical assault that is on our bodies. So, essential oils are not going to go anywhere. Come on in, folks. Essential oils are not going to go anywhere. Oh yeah, so right up here. Here you go. Yes, front row. I can spit on both of you. Yes. Yes, that's right. That's right. Essential oils are not going to go anywhere. They're only getting bigger. Okay. Second point is, like I already said, everyone is looking for options to get away from the toxic things in their cabinets, in their pantries, in their showers. Third thing is, and it kind of goes along with exactly what we're doing here. This is a big punch in the stomach to Big Pharma. And a lot of people are really becoming aware of the power of God's plants, not just in the whole food nutrition that we're already doing here, but in the liquefied version, the fatty essences of the plants. And we're going to talk a lot about that, all of that stuff tonight. So there's just a few reasons right there to really pay attention to this stuff. A little bit of housekeeping. In part 1, if you watch the part 1 of this video that's now on Facebook, it's now on YouTube, a lot of the stuff's going to look very familiar, but we're going to cover 3 different oils because we have this, oils of ancient scripture. This may look differently now. I ordered this a couple of years ago. This is Young Living. We promote and we use Young Living. They were the first, they were the biggest, they're the baddest. Gary Young did a lot. He was single-handedly the father of the aromatherapy movement, the essential oils movement. I can go into the comparisons later on if anybody has a question about how Gary Young is very similar to Royal Lee and what Royal Lee did with Standard Process. But this is the Oils of Ancient Scripture kit. We are going to be discussing, like last time we did frankincense, we did cypress, and we did onycha. I put them in order here. I'm going to pass this around. You guys can hang a nostril on each one of these. Just make sure it's a clean nostril. We know what's going on out there. Everybody, don't get bent out of shape. It's clean nostrils. Frankincense, cypress, onycha. Tonight, that was part 1, okay? Tonight, we're going to do aloes, or another way of saying that is sacred sandalwood. Don't think of aloes as like the aloe plant or the aloe stuff you get from the supermarket. We're going to talk about, I'm going to explain that, but it's just called aloes, or the other word for it is sacred sandalwood, okay? We're also going to do cassia, and we're also going to do hyssop. So you might want to familiarize yourselves with these 6 right here. There are 10 in this kit. You can pass this around. The top 5 and the one on the left, the ones you should familiarize yourselves with first. The first 3 we did last time, which was February. I think it was the first week of February. And the second 3 we're doing tonight. So you can hang a nostril on all of these. If you have not ever smelled, make sure you smell all of them. Take your time. We got plenty of time, okay? So Part 3 that we're going to do in quarter 3, we haven't decided on the dates yet, but then we'll discuss the Rose of Sharon, we'll discuss cedarwood, we'll discuss myrtle, and we'll discuss myrrh. Myrrh. We'll discuss all that. Rewards programs, you guys. Oh, and hey, while we're here, speaking of, right at the right time. How many of you have? Raise your hand. Hold up your cell phone if you have a cell phone. Ha! I tricked you. Now, go like our Facebook page.
Right.
I know you've got phones because I just saw them. So go like our Facebook page, follow it. You guys all can get on the WellWorks Rewards Club. How do you do that? You just like us on Facebook, you follow us, or you come to the WellWorks event. You bring new guests with you, okay? You can also share the live stream while you're here, and you can check in while you're here. You can get 4 punches on your 10-punch card in one sitting, okay? So one time coming here, you can get 40% of your card filled up. Wait. What? Somebody told me we have 3 people spinning tonight. 1. You're spinning again? You cheater. You already won?
Hey,
You already
I
won.
show up,
That's right. That's right, baby. You tell them. That's right, Janice. I show up. I win because I show up. You're spinning too? Who else? Oh, yeah. Oh, uh-oh. She's here with a vengeance. Oh, yeah. She's going to win the big stuff. So WellWorks Rewards Club, this is just a fun way for you to tell people about what's going on. We're really here for you. Yes, just like every other credit card company and hotel and plane. And we're here for you too. You get it? This is just a little reminder that we are here for you. Literally, we are here for you, for your friends, your family, your coworkers. And this is just a little reminder. I think you all have some of these available on the back table there. But this is to remind you, we can ship stuff to you. We can do a lot of our stuff telehealth over the phone or over the internet. So if you have friends or family members that live a long way away, their pediatricians are closed down, their vets are closed down, whatever, or they're just not happy with their health care, we can do a lot of stuff right over the phone, right over the internet that is so easy. It's so simple. It would blow your mind. We can drop ship to you and all the other things that we're doing for this whole, the pandemic that we're in right now, chiropractic, saunas, foot spas, PMF, available at all times. But also we're doing standard process purifications are on 20% off until we're out of this whole mess that we're in. So if you want to do it again, or you want to get one for your husband or your friend or your person you don't like and put them through the same process that you went through with the purification, 20% off. While you're at home and while all the restaurants are closed down and stuff like that, you can do that. And then another little thing here is saunas and foot spas. We offer only 4, buy 4, get 1 free. We usually do that for only the family, only the Vibe tribe, only the people that are here. But we're extending that to people in the community because they need to detox just like you guys. Because they're people too, and they have feelings. So we need to do that. Okay, so those are just a couple of little housekeeping things. Next thing too, and everybody should have one of these. Can we pass these out or make sure everybody gets one of these, right? ABCs of CBD. This is the next class on May 18th. The ABCs of CBD. It was demonized for decades. Now everyone can't stop talking about it. Why the switch? I know you're wondering. So you know what? We're going to do a class about it because you need to know about this. It's a plant, okay? Here's the schedule for 2020 WellWorks. Lies Doctors Tell Part 2. We did that on April 13th. Barn burner. Had a lot of funny stuff in there. That was a class put together by my patients. Actually, I just went to all my medical patients. Half this practice is patients, are medical workers, medical professionals. So I went to him, I said, hey, I'm compiling this class called Lies Doctors Tell. Tell me the weirdest things you've heard since you've been in medicine for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Right? So Lies Doctors Tell Part 2 was a continuation of Lies Doctors Tell Part 1. If you just go on Facebook or YouTube, you'll find them. April 27th, we did What's the Buzz, 5G and PEMF. That was Part 2 of the 5G treatise that we dropped back in November. So that's a Part 2 as well. This one you're in, Essential Oils, Biblical First Aid, Part 2. If you want to go back and see Part 1, that was in February. May 18th, like I said, ABCs of CBD. See what I did there with the letters? Clever, huh? Just shake your head at me.
Well, you're up there.
That's right. It's clever. I thought of it myself. All those letters. June 1st is the evil parents of autoimmune disease. If you want to know what's up with autoimmune disease and you want to know where autoimmune disease came from and why they didn't have it 80, 90, 100 years ago, What happened? What were the two things that got together that gave autoimmune disease a run for just a wide open field to run on? That will be June 1st. You will figure out scleroderma. You will figure out eczema. You will figure out chronic fatigue. You will figure out irritable bowel, all the chronic fatigue, all of the chronic autoimmune conditions. Let me just say this. I'll give you a teaser. Your body is not stupid enough to attack its own tissue. I'll say it again. Your body is not stupid enough to do what we've all been taught. Your body is not stupid enough to attack its own tissue. So what is it attacking? That's the teaser. If you want to know what the rest is, guess what? And then on June 15th, the roots of your pharmakia healthcare. So if you want to understand what pharmakia is, if you want to understand what the word pharmaceutical, pharmacy, pharmacist, what those words come from, where those words come from, and you want to understand your healthcare system, you want to understand why it's broken and dying, you want to understand why it's not fixing anything, and you want to understand the chaos that's going on right now in healthcare. Is there chaos going on in healthcare? Yeah? Why? Why is chaos going on in healthcare right now? Many things. It's huge,
which
right?
one?
Trick question.
Yeah.
It's which one, she says. The COVID-19 thing. We'll talk about that at the end of the class if we have some time. Respirators, lung stuff, viral stuff, immune system stuff. Not to mention insurance, the Unaffordable Care Act, all the stuff that people are wondering about with their health care. We can mention all of that. We can talk all of that. That roots of your pharmakia healthcare, that might be a 6 or 12 or 18 part mini-series. I'm not sure. That's about all the housekeeping. We will do, we'll do commercial, I was just getting to we'll do commercial breaks by Caitlin. Everybody, Caitlin just joined us recently. She's been a patient here 2 years, year and a half?
Yeah, about 2 years.
About 2 years. Mm-hmm. Well, you ought to. You know what? You ought to give a little bit of your, just a little bit of
rundown of my story.
Just a little bit of why you're here. And then, so every 10 minutes or so, you'll get, when you start getting sick of my mug, I'll bring her up to do a commercial break and read a little testimonial. So everybody say hi to Caitlin, and I'll be right back.
Hi, thank you guys. So
Yeah.
you'll be seeing my face around here in the summer. I was a patient for about 1.5 years. My story is I had a lot of the chronic autoimmune issues that Dr. Spadlin was just referring to in the flyer, which is something that you will want to learn more about soon. But I was dealing with a lot of mental health issues, digestive issues, a lot of chronic things that doctors didn't really know what to do with me. I would get all the tests, nothing would show up on the tests, but my body wasn't lying to me. So this was the first place I came that really helped me turn my life around. And now you see I've got the black scrubs to show for it. So
Yes.
All right.
Black scrubs.
So I'm going to read some more victories. This one was from back in August. This person says, on a Monday evening, my arm was whelping up and a rash was forming from doing some brush work in the yard. My skin was red, irritated, and itchy. The next day, I called in to schedule a foot detox to help detox my body from whatever I came into contact with. After a detox, the redness and irritation immediately began dissipating. Within just a couple of days, the rash was completely gone. Thank you, Divine Design, for having this service available. And I'm sure the essential oils would be something that would help with those type situations too.
Yes.
Back to you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Caitlin. That was wonderful. Everybody give Caitlin a round of applause. That was her first official commercial break, and she did a wonderful job. So let's start. Hey, since the name of this thing is Biblical Essential or Biblical First Aid Essential Oils, you think we all should pray for a minute? Fabulous. Let's do it. So, Lord, I just thank you right now for your redemption. I thank you for you anointing me with the oil of gladness to be able to speak to everyone in this crowd, to be able to hear and to learn and to understand everything that God's put on this planet. He did not abandon us with no solutions to all these diseases that magically appear. He put everything in these plants and everything that he left for us to be able to combat bad things and to be able to boost us and our immune system. So we are not left just floating in the wilderness out here. So thank you for the blessing to understand that, Lord. Thank you for allowing us to teach this and preach it and let it fall on ears that are receptive to hear it. In Jesus' name, amen. Or as we say in Tennessee, hallelujahs. Come on in, brother. Have a seat back here. So real quick, we're going to show a video right quick, as we say down here. Just about a little bit of Young Living and how they do. Let me know when we're going or when we're good, or I'll just shut up as soon as you. Yeah, we're good. Let's rock and roll. Let's do this video.
Lemon essential oil you reach for every day, your go-to bottle of frankincense. Like every Young Living essential oil, Their quality starts with the principles in our Seed to Seal program that help bring about pure, pristine products from ethical suppliers. In this video, you'll learn more about Young Living's strategic sourcing, what it means, and why it's so important. By working closely with our corporate farms, partner farms, and Seed to Seal certified suppliers, which empower us to source conscientiously and with sensitivity to local communities and ecosystems, we can bring you the authentic oils your family loves. Young Living's corporate farms are where we showcase the sourcing of our Seed to Seal program. Here, our members and the public get to see us growing potent botanicals, distilling essential oils, and performing industry-leading testing and research. Our partner farms are like-minded suppliers who help provide the pure products our members love. These locations are independently owned, but our relationships are so deeply entwined, they are part of the Young Living family. They often work with Young Living on long-term goals, and we spend years fortifying our relationships, offering extensive resources to make sure their practices align with ours. Our Seed to Seal certified suppliers are carefully vetted stewards of the earth, who embrace our philosophy and, like our corporate and partner farms, abide by our partnership principles, which help in maintaining our industry-leading quality specifications at every point in the supply chain. Our partnership principles are the foundation of our essential oil sourcing, protecting our Seed to Seal quality commitment and the purity of the essential oils we share with your family. Sourcing our premium botanicals starts with strong, established relationships. Our sourcing and executive teams select the world's best suppliers, developing relationships over decades. Building on these relationships, every farm signs a declaration that they will follow our stringent Seed to Seal specifications throughout the production process. We back up these declarations with legally binding agreements that require our partners to deliver pristine products time and time again. Our policy, of course, is to trust, but we do verify. Each batch of oils is subject to an extensive battery of tests and ongoing audits. If our research team finds that our supplier's product does not meet our demanding standards, then we will not sell it. As a result of those careful sourcing protocols and our long-term relationships with renowned suppliers, Young Living has access to the world's premier essential oils. While lower quality essential oils are abundant, accessible, and cheap, we choose to source superior oils so we can choose formula after formula, batch after batch, to produce the highest quality products possible. To complement our commitment to strategic sourcing of essential oils, we bolster it with our world-class production facilities and practices and third-party validation of our supply chain. We'll share more about how these critical components help bring your family the world's purest lavender, eucalyptus, copaiba, and more in upcoming videos. To learn more about the quality commitment that sets Young Living apart, visit seedtoseal.com.
Yay. Woo. So I play that just so you get a little understanding about this is a very, very large company, very, very ethical, very, very moral company. What I heard when I first saw these guys, I've been doing standard process supplements for 10 years now. And standard process's seed to supplement policy was the same thing as like their Seed to Seal thing. They have their own farms, whole 9 yards. It's a standard process. Just to give you a little background of Divine Design Natural Health, what we do here, one of the biggest companies that we use for whole food nutrition is a company called Standard Process. They've been around 90 years. There's a couple things that they do that no other company understands how to do, and that's why they're still around with every other nutritional company trying to copy them. They're huge with chiropractors like myself. Yes, I'm a trained chiropractor. They're also huge with veterinarians because dogs and cats, better than anybody, know what's fake and what's real. So you take a fish oil from Walmart and you take a fish oil from Standard Process, I guarantee you, have you done this? Yeah, you guys were telling me, right? What happens when you put fish oil from Walmart, fish oil from Standard Process, and you let your dog come into the room? What happens?
Goes to the Standard Process, doesn't even look at the Walmart.
Doesn't even look at the other one? Doesn't even look at it because he wanted to eat it, and he said, "Ooh, I'm not even trying this." You're right. So the dog goes for the Standard Process one every time. Right? And every time he hears the thing rattle, does he come? I warned you. Said. I warned you ahead of time. Like, you guys are getting into... Yeah. This isn't going to go away anytime soon. So what I'm saying is they've been around 90 years. They're available to healthcare professionals only. You have to know how to apply the products in order to use them, or in order to have a license, you have to have a license to be able to, in order to buy them from Standard Process. Young Living had a very similar upbringing kind of through Gary Young, who 35 years ago started this whole thing single-handedly. What you have in your hands there, and every other company that's branched off from these guys, started with Gary Young just wanting to figure out how to distill some lavender. So it's grown. The ethics and the morals behind these guys are wonderful, and the sourcing and everything that they do is par excellence, and they are the standard. So it's not so much, I don't care, really. It's up to you guys. If whatever oils, there are only a couple oil companies that I can really say are solid, but if they're commercially available, just like they're commercially available supplements, and I was explaining to somebody like a commercially available foot spa today. Take this all into account. There are things that are available on the store shelves. There are things that are available to certain professionals or certain products that are only available within a certain way. You're not going to find, like what we sell here, you're not going to find on store shelves at Walgreens. So what I mean by that is somebody today was asking, hey, is this the same type of foot spa as like the one I saw on the internet? Well, the answer is I don't really know, because I don't know that unit. But I do know this. That unit was made by the same company that makes the lasers that I use. And they're the top laser company on the planet, and they know a little bit about frequency and wavelength and electricity and impedance and all these other things. So I can't speak to that unit. I don't know. But what I can say is there are ones that are available to doctors and professionals who know how this stuff works, and then there are things that are available on Walmart shelves. So you kind of have to weigh the importance of and the price. You get what you pay for. So I support and condone Young Living. If you are using other companies, if at least you are, I don't really care. I will teach you how to use all of this if you want. There's so many resources, it can be overwhelming. So I will straighten it all out for you, right? So many resources, it can be overwhelming. But if you have somebody come beside you and say, hey, I did the same thing, let me show you what I did. And I will share with you some of my steps at the end of this, if you all want to know, some of the things that I use essential oils for every day. So like I was saying, if as long as you're trying to use oils, as long as you're trying to get healthy, as long as you're taking supplements, as long as you're going to a natural healthcare doctor, as long as you're trying to avoid drugs and surgery, as long as you're getting better, and as long as you're trying, that's all I care about. Okay? So I hope it doesn't sound like a sales pitch, but you know what? We're all selling each other every day on whether we can do something, not do something. Hey, that movie you went to the other day, the book you read the other, we're all selling things. So just get over that whole thing. This is not a sales pitch, but I'm telling you, if you want a place where you can plug in, you want a place where you can be taught, you want a place where you can be mentored, you want a place where a physician can tell you, hey, this seems to be the oil out of the 57 oils that are available for your foot problem. This seems to be the one that your body's testing for better. And this seems to be the dosage. Just the way we test supplements. So if you want some of that, if you want to know how to get plugged in, talk to Nadia. But in the meantime, suspend all disbelief and just understand that Young Living is the choice that we went with, because years and years and years of directing people to Walmart to get a better soap or a better shampoo or a better laundry detergent, after all those little companies got bought up by Nestle and by all these other massive, by Colgate and by Palmolive and by Procter & Gamble, finally I said, I got to pick a company. I can't keep doing this, because they're all going to keep, Tom's got bought by Colgate and all these other, Garden of Life got bought by Nestle, back in 2017. I'm like, I just can't put my faith in some companies that I know are going to get bought up. These guys aren't getting bought up. Standard Process isn't going anywhere, I guarantee it. So that's my pitch on that. So a few things, this all got wet. What happened? So a few things just here. Basic background, everything we're doing here is biblically based. Everything we're doing here. Light, laser, water, the foot spas, the saunas, heat, the saunas, electricity, the foot spas, the laser, light, water, heat, electricity, plants, animals, and my hands. So there's 7 things in there. Light, water, heat, electricity, plants, animals, my hands. So there's 7 things there that are ancient, that you can't be hurt by, and that are effective and very, very, very affordable. Where these essential oils fit in is in the plants department, okay? So this is the actual essence this is the lifeblood of the plants, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But how I got into essential oils was, like a lot of people, in 2015, I got the starter kit, and I didn't know what to do with it, and it just sat in my cupboard, and I thought, well, that's a lot of oil to use up, just sniffing it in the air. This is going to take a while. It's really truthful. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know you could ingest it. I didn't know you could do it orally. I didn't know you could do it topically. I just didn't know because I had a book like this big, which I'll show you what this is right here. I had a book. Where do I go? What do I use? There's hundreds of different oils. There's hundreds of different ways that I can use this. What do I do? That's why it would be very valuable to have somebody help you with all this. So the biblical references to all these oils, I read the Bible for years and years, half my life, and I'm like, wow, this frankincense and myrrh stuff must have been very important. These aloes and the cedarwood must have been very important, but I didn't know enough. Finally, I got into some books, and I started reading this stuff. That's what clued me in to what a genius Gary Young was. He was a prophet. He was so far ahead of his time. So all of this stuff sparked my interest back in graduate school, but I just had no idea what to do with any of it. So I began using them in practice a few years ago. I had a story that you can go back on the first one. Oh, wow, thank you. Yeah, it got all wet and soupy. I must have had it under my So I had a few stories, like an ingrown toenail story that you can go back and watch the first one. I'm not going to bore you with the whole thing. I had tooth stuff. I had all kinds of things where God woke me up and I finally went, okay, I got to start plugging this in. This is valuable stuff. And I got to start using this with patients because this could seriously cut down maybe the amount of products that they're on, or it could seriously speed up their healing, one of the two or both. Make sense? So I won't bore you with that whole thing, but I'll tell you what, there was a little miracle that happened in my foot when I woke up one day and my whole leg was numb and I could barely walk. It was from an ingrown toenail that I'd had 2 months before that. And that's the same way that a lot of people get diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, or they have joint pain in a wrist from manicures, or they have leg pain or foot pain from pedicures. If you want to know how that happens, go back, watch that one. That's called Biblical Essential Oils. That's the part 1 back in February. Time for a public service announcement. Boom. Yay, Caitlin. Woo!
Yay! That's actually perfect timing with this victory story because it has to do with essential oils and toes.
Oh, love it.
So what do you know?
Maybe it's
All
my own
right.
testimony I wrote.
Nope, it's someone else's. So this person says, I had toe pain on the corner of my right toe. It was an ingrown nail for several months. That would be horrible for several months.
Yeah.
Now, I put Thieves essential oil on my toe, and I use a brush to get it in the corner of my toe. And after using it only twice, the pain was completely gone.
Wow.
Only twice. And I
Wow.
don't even know how far apart those times were spaced. It doesn't say.
Wow.
But Thieves essential oil is a blend. You'll
Yeah.
probably learn more about that tonight.
Yeah.
And it helps with pain and microbes and all kinds
It helps
of
with
things like
everything. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That was perfect time. We didn't even plan that. That was perfect. Yay. Yeah. Thieves is a blend. We won't get too much into it tonight. That'd be a good question for somebody to ask at the end. I can explain a little bit more about that. But Thieves is priceless. It's just priceless. Modern healthcare, we'll talk about. So chiropractic, laser, percussion, supplements, nutrition, detox, infrared sauna, thought field therapy, animals, PEMF therapy, essential oils, everything we do here. You can go to our website and you can see the little drop-down box under services, and that will tell you everything we do here. That is what we do. Modern healthcare, we'll get to this in a second. I just want to explain this. This we talked about last time, and we will talk more about this particular little chunk that I want to share with you. We'll talk more about this in the Roots of Your Pharmakia Healthcare, which is June 15th. That's right before I go on vacation for a little bit. I'm going to drop that bomb and skedaddle out of Cleveland. Yep, it's going to be a barn burner. So modern healthcare, I just told you what everything that we do. Everything's natural. Everything's all biblical. Nothing here is anything that can hurt you, blah, blah, blah. Modern healthcare, I discovered long ago, I worked in a hospital for 3 years before I did any of this, back when I first got out of my first trip through undergraduate school, when I got a bachelor's degree in theater performance, jazz studies, and a couple of minors. And I did performing arts for a long time, and then I got into the hospital, worked there for 3 years, all because I thought I had to have the golden handcuffs. I got the golden handcuffs, I never used them. So modern healthcare, what I learned, though, back then was that it's a secular system. It's secular means against or without God. Everybody knows that. So people go to church, they go to prayer, they go to potlucks, they go to worship, salvation, whatever. You go to church. But you go to doctors when you get, and you go to hospitals and doctors for healing. You don't too often go to the church for healing. And I thought, that's backwards. But we go to doctors and hospitals to take medications and to get procedures and this and that. And I thought, that can't be right. Because if you can get salvation eternally, can't you get healed temporarily? right? So I worked in that system, and I didn't see too many people get better. And then years later, when I had my own little accident, I had a little experience, and I thought, now I know what I need to do. It's a whole different ballgame now. So what we're doing here is the opposite of that. And I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. I already said earlier, most of our people here are medical professionals. Anybody else? Medical? Retired? Whatever? Oh yeah, you're the only, wow, you're the minority this time. Wow, last time I think like half the crowd. Yeah. So I'm not saying this to throw anybody under the bus, but everybody, well, I'll say many people know the system is broken. Many people know there's something seriously lacking in healthcare. It's not based on creation, it's based on evolution. That's all I'm going to say. If you want to know more about that, you want to know how that works, and you want to know why it's so screwed up, you want to understand why we're so off base, why we're so off target, you want to know why we're using patent pharmaceutical poisons, not to heal you, not to cure you, but to prolong the symptoms. You want to know why? I will tell you. June 15th, the roots of your pharmakia healthcare. Moving on. Teaser. There's no way, well, we'll just skip that for now. So what are essential oils? Just real quickly, there are 3 things you need to know. When you walk through a forest or you smell grass or whatever, there's 3 things, okay? There's resins, there's gums, and there's the oleo part. This is the fat, this is the water, and this is the alcohol. So just so you understand, there's oleo gum resins, okay? So when you walk through a forest, you smell something, you smell that fresh cut grass, or you smell the flowers blooming or something like that, you're smelling microscopic particles in the air. That is how you smell. You're smelling atoms, molecules of that plant being given off. They're microscopic, they're oils of the aromatic compounds. They can be used topically 3 ways. Topically, like I said, on the skin, aromatically, or aromatically or orally. Okay? Or internally, you could say ingested. So the resins are the alcohol-soluble fluids. That's what you're talking about when you're talking about tinctures, like medicinal tinctures and stuff like that. Here, this is all the water-soluble stuff. I'm just reading you some quick notes here. This is what you get when you boil things, when you heat it, herbs and flowers, the sugar, the carbohydrates, amino acids, proteins, all the things that are water-soluble. Okay, now the oleos, the fat part, the easiest part of thinking about this, that's the portion of the plant fluid extracted by steam distillation. And they separate into oil and water. So you've got the water-soluble part, the gums, and you got the fat-soluble part, the oil. This is why it's so great to use oil, to use essential oils on your skin. Why? When you put them on your skin, they go directly into what? Bloodstream. Instantly. Instantly. You can affect a change in the human organism at lightning speed. Why? Because it's a lightning-fast chemical reaction. Right? And we discussed back in the class that we did what's in those supplements. I think that was February or March. What's in those supplements? I explained how nitroglycerin in the tongue, under the tongue. I explained how muscle testing was discovered. I explained how it's a lightning fast biochemical reaction. You can affect a chemical change on someone by putting supplements on their tongue or food or things on their tongue. Why? Because it's a nervous system reaction. Your taste buds are tied directly into what? Your brain, your nervous system. So that's how they discovered back in the day, how they discovered the science behind muscle testing and figured out, well, if you can put something on the tongue that automatically changes the heartbeat, heart's a muscle, right? Can't we put something on the tongue that would change the strength of other muscles? It's all muscle. So you put something on the tongue, then they got smart and they realized you don't have to put it on the tongue, you can put it on the body and the body will sense the electromagnetic field given off by the dust of the earth that you were pulled out of. Does that make sense? It's the same stuff. Because remember, you were sculpted out of the dust of the earth. Where did the plants and animals come from? Dust of the earth. One was sculpted by the hand of God. One was called forth by his voice. You were the only one with a fingerprint made in his image. Let that sink in for a minute, okay? And then think about all the antibiotics and the vaccines they want to pump you with. What's better, your nervous system or a man-made vaccine? No, your immune system, your nervous system. What's smarter? Your nervous system, your immune system, right? So just understand that. This right here, they're fat soluble, so that is why they soak right into your skin. Now, essential oils are the oleo portion, and we just talked about that. Little bottles, what we're talking about is little bottles of plant juice. That's the lifeblood. That's the nutrient delivery in the plant, and that's the protection of the plant. You cut that plant, and there are going to be essential oils. They're going to be the life essence of that thing going to heal that cut. When you tap a frankincense tree, you slice it, and it starts gathering the sap in a little thing. That's the tree trying to, in a little bubble or a little knot, that's the tree trying to protect itself. These plants are sentient beings. They have feelings. They know what's going on around them. I'll prove it to you. And I think I even said last time, there's a book out there. If you're into plants, you want to know the biggest mind blower, it's called The Secret Life of Plants. It's a book. It's a long one, but it will blow your mind. It will blow your mind what plants know. You want to know a lie detector, how they figured out lie detectors? Plants. Yeah. You ought to see what the government's doing with plants. That'd scare you. There's healing power since ancient times. They're distilled leaves. I will skip through all this. This is stuff we went through last time. If you want to hear the nuts and bolts of some of the things, you can go back to part 1. Leaves, stems, flowers, roots. Egyptian hieroglyphics, 5,000 years, essential oils, anywhere in the body, transdermally, it reaches every body part within minutes. I'll say that again. You put essential oils on the body part, and it will be all throughout the body within minutes because it's lightning. It's like that fast. These cells are exchanging these molecules like that, okay? Want to test that? Hey, somebody throw some, grab that kit or grab a peppermint from, oh, here, Jane, you trust me? No, you can do it right there. Just put a couple drops on your feet and tell me if you taste anything on your tongue. If it's a really bad taste, I didn't do it. And if that doesn't work, we'll give you something stronger, and then you'll taste it. So you put that on your, know what it is? It's peppermint. So put that on your feet and tell me, raise your hand when you taste it on your tongue. So we'll get into the slides now. Real quick, we'll blow through these slides, and then I want to get to some of the things that we, the 3 oils that we are covering tonight, and then some of the things I do with it. And then we're going to have a little meme test on the current state of affairs in the world. Purposes, why do we do these things? They support our endocrine, circulatory, digestive, nervous, reproductive system, immune system. Viruses can't stand a chance with oils. You know what else can't stand a chance with oils? Mosquitoes. I taught a class back in January. We talked about the top leading causes, the top leading things, the top global threats to health. One of them is genetically modified mosquitoes, because what do genetically modified mosquitoes carry? Genetically modified viruses. West Nile, Zika, Ebola, boom, boom, boom. You don't want a mosquito landing on you? Best way to do it? Essential oils, right here. We'll talk about that. They clear your lungs and sinuses. Has anybody heard anything about lungs? Problems with lungs recently? No? Nobody? All right. I'm living in the matrix. Thanks. They help metabolize nutrients, minerals, and vitamins. Who doesn't need to metabolize more nutrients, minerals, and vitamins? They boost our defenses to fight. Has anybody heard about anybody needing boosted defenses lately? Nobody? I'm living in the matrix. Thanks. Okay. Everybody's talking about immune system. Everybody. Why? Because you cannot breathe. You cannot survive from your next breath if you did not have an immune system. So when they tell you that you got to have this or that, or you got to wear that or this, they're lying through their mask. I just made that up. Write that down. Somebody write that down. Nadia, write that down. They can be hostile to bacteria, viruses, parasites, and fungus. Has anybody heard anything about viruses lately? Now you're really not answering. Okay, next. Yeah, viruses, lung. Oh yeah. What'd you put?
I can feel it.
Feel it in your mouth. You can feel. So Jane put peppermint on her feet, right? And what do you feel right now?
A tingling in my tongue.
A tingling in your mouth. So how long did it take? What, like a minute and a half, 2 minutes to get there? So from your feet to your tongue, you can feel this. So how do you feel about tattoos now? How do you feel about hair dye? How do you feel about the lotion from Colgate and from Palmolive and from Procter & Gamble? How do you feel about the progesterone cream? How do you feel about the nicotine patch? How do you feel about the hormone creams? Huh? What do you think about them apples? All right, commercial break? Yay, we'll leave them in suspense.
All right. Just to bounce off of what he was talking about with the lungs, this person had a severe strangling cough, which caused a painful ongoing ache down their right arm. That sounds like a horrible cough. But Now, within 24 hours of treatment here at Divine Design, both the cough and the right arm pain were significantly better. Yeah.
Wow. Super easy. What we spend so much time trying to diagnose and take pictures of, you can save a bunch of money and just get right to it and say, let's fix this. Why do we need to diagnose it and figure out a name and a stage and a grade and call it and, name it and stage it and call it what it is and feed it and water it? And by that time, it's massive. Then you got a big problem. Why don't we just try to fix it? Let's do it. John 1:1-5, right? Has anybody heard this before? Yes. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. All things were made. Were essential oils made? By him? Yes. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Regardless of what's happening in the media or the mainstream media, we know the end. We know what's going on, right? Next slide. Here we go, yeah. Oh, this is one of my favorites. This is one of my favorite scriptures of all time. Romans 1:20. I love this. For since the what? Creation of the world. It doesn't say since the evolution, from lightning hitting a mud puddle 4.5 billion years ago, from a spinning ball hurtling through space. It says, for since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, invisible things, you can't see them, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen. Being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. Do you get that? His invisible qualities have been clearly seen. His eternal power and divine nature, it's within the nature that we're living in. It's clearly seen, so that people are without excuse. And then here, just continued, that scripture is kind of what I built this whole thing on. Divine design, right? Every building has a builder. Every painting has got to have a painter. Every design has a designer. If I told you that car out there that you drove in here was a random chemical chance of millions and billions of years of, would you look at me funny? Every screw was threaded. Every piece was cut. Every carpet fiber was put in place on your car. So when I talk to you about your immune system, I talk to you about your lungs, I talk to you about the plants and the molecules and how if one angle of a molecule, if you got water like this, oxygen, hydrogen, it's 109.5 degrees from here to here. If that changes by 0.5 degree, you don't exist. It's perfect. His invisible qualities. Moving on. This slide here, getting into, we're skipping a bunch of stuff, but Exodus 30, verse 23. Take the following fine spices. This is the sacred anointing oil. I just wanted to throw this in here because this is what we're talking about. This is what ancient people who were geniuses, by the way, they were not nomadic cavemen. They were geniuses. They knew how to hunt. They knew how to ride horses. They knew how to avoid plagues. They probably were better at computers than I am, probably. Y'all can laugh at that one. Take the following fine spices, 500 shekels of liquid myrrh, half as much, 250 shekels of cinnamon, 250 shekels of calamus, 500 shekels of cassia. We're going to talk about cassia tonight. Myrrh, we're going to talk about next time. Cinnamon, that's not in this kit. And calamus is not in this kit. All according to the sanctuary shekel, and a hin of olive oil. So olive oil is the carrier oil, and then you're putting all this, pretty cool. How you got that, didn't you? So the olive oil is the carrier oil, and then these other oils go in there at specific amounts. I won't get into there. There's a big breakdown here that I could tell you how to make all this stuff, but I won't get into it right now. So next, this anoint, I think it's the next slide. Anoint means to massage or rub with oil. It's anointment, or literally an ointment. Anointment. Crazy, huh? Biblical ointments were always composed of essential oils. What else were they going to be composed of? We didn't have patent medicine until 120 years ago. We didn't know how to push molecules around. We didn't know how to change those angles. We didn't know how to take oil and create pharmaceuticals from it. That's why it's called the petrochemical pharmaceutical industry. It all comes from oil, right? But not olive oil. Oil, like rotted plants and animals oil. Dead energy that God created from the beginning. And that's where all the dead patent chemical pharmaceuticals come from. I will tell you and teach you all this. The history of medicine, the history of every medical school, the history of the buildings on the medical school campuses, who they're named after, it's all a plan. The roots of your pharmacia healthcare, June 15th. We're going to spit thunder on that one, I promise you. And it will be, it's going to be a barn burner. I promise. It might be a 6-part miniseries. I'm not sure. Anointing is mentioned 156 times in the Bible. Thou anointest my head with oil. Psalm 23, you've heard it a million times. That's the most familiar, right? If David wrote it, David was a king. He wrote it, and God, the king, inspired it. This oil could be, that oil that we just talked about is the holy anointing oil of the Israelites. The whole blend thing, I won't get into with that. Next slide. The blend has a very specific, like how many drops. If you're doing 500 shekels of that, you boil it down to how many drops it would be. Very interesting numbers. Number 16, 46, 50. I'm just throwing my case here for why essential oils are such a big deal. And if you start using them in your home, start putting them on topically, aromatically, and orally, guess what? Will your life improve? Absolutely. Number 16, Aaron stops a plague among the Israelites by fumigating their encampment with vapors of frankincense, galbanum, onycha, and myrrh. The frankincense we talked about last time. Onycha we talked about last time. Galbanum is no longer available, but we did have a bottle of it from Ashley Gilmore. Thank you, Ashley. Once again, I know you're out there. Myrrh we're going to talk about next time. So you want to stop a plague? Guess what? You want to stop a scamdemic? Yeah, we know how. Pandemic, sorry. Oh, and pandemic. Oh, you know what? Pandemic, by the way. We talked about this a while ago. What is Pan? We talked about this. Who was here?
Is a god of the underworld, eh?
Another name for the devil. That's also where we get the word pandemic. And when you are panicking, guess who's in control? The god of fear. Exactly. So guess what? That ain't good. So you're in the middle of I'm sorry, I said plandemic? Or did I say scamdemic? Plandemic? Scamdemic? Oh, pandemic. Sorry. It's a pandemic. And I'm not saying that there's not something out there. I'm not saying that nobody's dying. Don't get me wrong. Don't send me hate mail. But there's people dying, but there's people dying all day, every day, all the time, everywhere. Your numbers have been inflated, and the media is lying to you. You're not being told the truth. We'll talk more about that at the end. Fumigation, releasing aromatic molecules into the air by smoke, was a common way of administering healing powers of essential oils in biblical times. Today we use diffusers. We have 8 or 10 of them running in this office right now. Next slide, please. Okay, so if we want to just go through real quick with the frankincense, this is from last time. Oleogum resin from trunks. That's why I explained this, so you wouldn't get lost in the details. So the oleogum resin from trunks and limbs, holy anointing oil. This is the ancient uses, modern uses, and scriptures. So if anybody wants to take some pictures of these, you can. Ancient uses, boom, boom, boom. Modern uses. I mean, if you want something good that's heavy duty, to do anything, it's the 10W40 of, it's the 10W40. It's the WD-40 of, you want to clean yourself with it, or you want to take off rusty bolts, boom, right here. When in doubt, you pour this on your bolts you're trying to get off your car, lug nuts, stuff like that, boom. When in doubt, frank it out. You remember that. Right on. Promoting permanent healing, promoting cellular regeneration, allergies, headaches, brain injuries, expectorant, immune support. Expectorant, any reasons why you'd want to be using an expectorant? Yeah, if you're walking down the aisle at Walmart. Yep. Immune support. Next one. So that's frankincense. Cypress. Source. We get it from the branches of the tree. Ancient uses, arthritis, laryngitis, cramps, reduction of scar tissue. If this helps with arthritis, do you know how much Humira, Enbrel, and methotrexate goes bye-bye out the window? Now you know why there's so much natural healthcare stuff being censored, being pulled off YouTube, being pulled off Facebook, and why they're in the last-ditch efforts to get you to buy into the idea that your body was not created perfectly enough to survive. Look at that. That's one essential oil. You know how many of them help with joint pain? Cardiovascular support, emotional support, menstruation, menopause support, healing, eases feelings of loss. You know what that tells me? Bye-bye psychotropics. Bye-bye psychiatric drugs. Next. So we talked about onycha. These are the first 3 that we did back in February. Tree resin, the resin. That's you cut the tree, boom, here's the sap. Perfume, holy incense, comforting, soothing, uplifting, healing skin wounds. That's what's ancient uses. Now with all the research and everything that's out there, there's so much research on this stuff. You guys want more research, let me know. Modern uses. Relief for colic, flatulence, There's hope for you. I'm just kidding. That's why you're here. Ah, constipation. So there's hope for you, Dave.
God.
It's the couple. Sinusitis, coughs, colds. I tell you, you sit in the front row. You know, I told you I was going to spit on you, just not
We're
that.
doing all spit and thunder, we're gonna be in the back.
Okay, fine. Yeah, exactly. Coughs, colds, skin wounds, stress relief. Here's the scriptures that it's mentioned in. Next one. Oh wait, here's a good place to stop, and we'll get into the oils that we're going to cover. Yay, Caitlin!
Break. All right, speaking of flatulence, we're going to talk about
Yes!
digestive issues.
Perfect.
All right, here's a victory. This person said, I had bouts of constipation that would last 5 to 7 days, and then a few days of diarrhea after that. So it was like a back and forth. Since starting with Divine Design 3 weeks ago, my bowel movements are more consistent and no more constipation.
Wow.
So that's awesome.
Right on. Yeah. That's
It's a big deal.
a huge deal. That's definitely a big deal. See, people who don't have those problems don't think it's a big deal. But if you're looking at hopping on a plane, 6-hour plane ride, and you don't know if you can hold it together, think about the fear. Think about what some people have to go through. So they take fiber and they take, or if it's the other route, they take Miralax to get it out. You know, it's just this constant circle that people are in, and they're not being told that it's as easy as doing exactly what we teach you to do here. They just don't know. They don't know natural health exists because they're just watching CNN and Fox and MSN. So they're watching all the commercials. They don't know it exists, or if they do know it exists, they think it's quackery because they did a Google search on it. But I'm here to tell you, yes, I'm a trained chiropractor, but it goes way beyond just adjusting bones and moving headache and neck pain and back pain off your list of to-dos. We do everything in here. I'm not afraid of one thing walking in this door. There's not one name of one disease that walks in here that we can't help. Did I say treat, cure, prevent? Nope, FDA won't allow me to say it. Don't quote me on that. Can we help them? Yes, 100%. There's nothing that scares me if they were to walk in here. Nothing, okay? Numbers, fumigation, we covered that. What do, yeah. We're back to aloes, sacred sandalwood. Everybody got a chance? I'll get out of the way. Everybody got a chance to hang a clean nostril on each one of those? So the aloes kind of smelled kind of woodsy, herbaceous. Anybody want this to go back around so you can kind of put a little, pass that around again, yeah. Because these are heavy duty things. You guys got to think, these are ancient oils. They've been around for what, 5,000 years. Some of these things have been distilled like this for 5,000 years. Pass that around. Aloes. It's also called sacred sandalwood, wood of the tree. It assists meditation. It helps you make your afro shiny and helps with your dance moves. Aphrodisiac. Helps with embalming. Your afro dancing. Okay. Helps with embalming. So if you got to put grandma in the ground, or this is what you want to use right here. Modern uses, and in the ancient uses, they probably did. Modern uses, carrying oxygen to cells. How many of you know that's a big deal?
Yeah.
How about wearing a mask? Do you get more oxygen or less oxygen in your body? When the 5G towers turn on, does that affect oxygen in a negative way, absorption in your lungs, or does that affect oxygen in a positive way, absorption in your lungs? Negative way. So if you're sucking hard to breathe oxygen, and you're building up and rebreathing your own carbon dioxide, and we got the towers turned on, and it's affecting your lungs alveoli's ability to ingest oxygen, to absorb oxygen, you think you're going to have oxygen deprivation problems? Will you think clearly or more stupidly? Will you make rash decisions or wise decisions? Yes. So here, when we're talking about carrying oxygen to cells, guess what? This is a good one. Very good one. And feel free to take a drop or two out of there. Aloe that one's very thick and it takes a while. And smell it and put it on your skin. Feel how that aloe, it's very different than the aloe you got at after the day you got burned at the beach. Deep sleep, female reproductive, oh, guess what? Enhancing deep sleep, Bilunesta. What's the other? Ambien, yes, thank you. Female reproductive support. Guess what? Last week when we talked about or 2 weeks ago, yeah, last week when we talked about the effects of 5G, what was the only thing that's going to be able to get people pregnant in the future? Say it louder. The only thing that's going to be able to pierce a female egg in the future, the way that things are going, is going to be a fertility needle.
It's already happening.
It's already happening. How many people do you know who are infertile? They can't have kids. Yeah, exactly. Female reproductive support. And why is that? And why is it that most couples that you know, or most people that you know, are having predominantly females? Think about the couples. Think about the people that you know, little kids. How many families you know that are all females? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I love girls. Girls are great. Andrea, oh, by the way, announcement. Andrea Seals had her little Sadie Joe bundle of joy. 7 pounds, 10 ounces, 21 inches, I want to say. I could have the numbers wrong there. 22? Yeah. And yeah, she put a little post on her Facebook page, and probably the most popular Facebook post I've ever had. Thanks, Andrea. Love you, mean it. Sadie Joe. No, we're glad to have another Divine Design baby here. So everybody congratulate her and give her high fives when you see her. Female reproductive support. I just thought of you, Andrea. UTIs, skin care. Boom, boom, boom. Urinary tract infections. Yep. So that's aloes. Make sure you hang a clean nostril on that. Then Cassia. This one too. Cassia, if you do use a drop of that, just be very careful. It will burn you. That is one of the hottest oils there is. I'm not saying it'll burn your skin off, but I'm saying you're going to feel it. And it's going to smell and feel like cinnamon. Okay? It's see the name here? Cinnamomum cassia? It's related to the cinnamon. So can you put this well, does it taste like cinnamon? Yes. I got to be careful about what I'm saying because the thought police are listening. But it's from the bark. It's ancient uses. It's an ingredient in Moses' holy anointing oil. How many of you think that might be important? If God gave a specific recipe and said, use this and this and this and this with this amount, this amount, this amount, this amount. Pretty important. The plants that God put here for man to use. Modern use as immune system builder. How many of you think that's important? We got some memes later that will come back to this. Immune system builder. People are focused, I'll get out of the way. People are focused on taking something or ingesting something directly into their bloodstream to protect them from something they can't see, yet they're crushing their own immune system by pulling through the drive-thrus and eating the processed stuff that crushes your immune system's ability to fight anything off. Whether they're healthy to begin with or sick to begin with, if they eat crappy stuff, their immune system's going to take a hit. And then you put something else in you and it's going to take a bigger hit. Boosting the body's natural defenses, very important. There's the scriptures where they are. Yes. Yeah, these are going around. Okay. Last one, the big three. That looks like lavender, but hyssop looks a lot like lavender. So source, the stems and the leaves. Ancient uses, spiritual cleansing, focusing during meditation. How many of you would like a little more focus in life? You know what that tells me? Bye-bye attention deficit disorder drugs. Bye-bye psychotropics. Bye-bye stimulants. Pharmaceutical, chemical, toxic stimulants. Bye-bye. How many of you know kids who are on stimulant drugs? Everyone in this room knows kids on stimulant drugs. You just don't know you know kids on stimulant drugs. The schools are full of them. More than 60% of the kids that you know are on more than one medication, or are on at least one medication now, by statistics. That's from like 5 years old up. It's criminal. Roots of your pharmakeia healthcare, June 15th. Purification from sin. How many of you need some of that? Now, if you don't raise your hand to this one, okay, yeah, thank you. Thanks, Rebecca. That was a trick question. I put that in there just to see if anybody was listening. No, I'm kidding. Ancient uses. Respiratory relief, expelling evil spirits. How many of you would like to, make sure you put this on and mother-in-law won't come within a mile and a half of you. He's like writing down which one is it? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
You got that one, right?
Modern uses. Reprogramming cellular memory. We'll come back to this. Relief from anxiety, arthritis, see what I mean? Respiratory support, see what I mean? Parasites, see what I mean? Wounds, metabolizes fat, detoxifying. Lovely. Reprogramming cellular memory, what does that mean? Rewriting your DNA. Helping to get the crap off of your DNA that was put there by shots and injectants and chemicals and other things that can cripple and maim and screw up your DNA. Rose of Sharon, this is on the next one, but you know what? Go back to the aloes one, and I had a couple notes here, just a couple slides back, had a couple notes right here that I wanted to read. I think this is very important. Oh, we got plenty of time. Aloes. Aloes is the most expensive wood, the most expensive tree, most valuable, I should say, tree in the world. It's a parasitic tree taps into the roots of its neighbors. Now, the interesting thing biblically about this, the name of this class is Biblical First Aid, right? So, essential oils. Interesting thing about this is when Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus went, I believe it's John 19, went to get Jesus' body. Yeah, it's John 19. I did have the note here. They took 75 pounds, or Joseph did, Joseph of Arimathea, because he was very wealthy. He was a very prominent man. And he took 75 pounds of myrrh and aloes, which is AKA sandalwood. That is the equivalent today of a roundabout, and these numbers were from years ago, about $150,000 to $200,000 worth of these oils. 75 pounds. I mean, 75 pounds. This is like a fifth grader, sixth grader, carrying a sixth grader. That's oils, 75 pounds. It's crazy. $150,000 to $200,000 that he took to anoint Jesus' body, get him ready for burial. Why would that be? Well, because Joseph was loaning him the tomb. Why was he He was putting Jesus in the tomb. Why was he putting Jesus in the tomb? Joseph had hung out with him. Nicodemus had hung out with him. Nicodemus knew, hey, you got to be born again. What was Joseph privy to? Why would he put somebody? This was supposed to be his tomb. He knew he was going to get it back in 3 days. He knew he was getting it back. It's the best real estate deal ever. Right? Hallelujah. So they knew the enormity. These two guys that went and got Jesus' body, they knew the enormity of what he had done, and they were willing to pay any price. That's the aloes, sandalwood. The cassia, real quick. One thing I forgot to mention here. Oh, yeah. That's the oil of gladness. That's when you hear referred to as the oil of gladness, this is what they're talking about in most cases, from my research, my understanding. It's the bark of a Chinese evergreen. So think of the journey that this tree had to go on from a Chinese evergreen to the Middle East to end up in our Bible for us to be smoothing it on our hands right now because some white boy from America went over and studied in France. A Midwestern white boy from America went over to France and Israel and the Middle East to figure out how to do that, only to come back here and have a bunch of people rip them off. Funny, huh? A little Judas in every family, isn't it? Next one, myrrh, the last one. And I want to read you. Little Judas everywhere you go. Myrrh. Joseph's brothers, the first mention of this one that I found was Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery from, what were they trading? The people coming along? Myrrh traders. Interesting, huh? So it's all started right here. It's the first mention of an oil that I know of. In Genesis 37. Exodus 12, there was the Passover. So, oh, wait. Oh, no, not myrrh. I'm sorry. Hyssop. I'm sorry. I misspoke. The one we covered today would probably be. Yes. So hyssop was, so in Passover, the hyssop branches, you were to dip the hyssop into the blood and smack it on the door and smack it on the door posts and smack it on the lintel. What'd they do? They formed a cross, right? And you've got the hyssop smacking the door and releasing the fragrance of the hyssop. So when you take a smell of the hyssop, everybody ought to get a big old face full of hyssop right here. It released the scent of hyssop. There's another place you see hyssop. It's right here. Let me read this because it's so good. I just don't want to write all this down. While Christ's death wouldn't be the end of his story here on earth, it was necessary for the perfect lamb to die in order for his blood to cover our sins. Jesus came to earth knowing he would die in one of the most gruesome and torturous forms of execution. It was customary to offer those being crucified a cheap Roman wine mixed with myrrh as a painkiller to help dull the senses and deal with the horrors of their death. Jesus refused it when first offered at the start, but just before his death, he accepted one final drink. If you read the passage on crucifixion in full, there's in several Gospels, you'll see that he was offered two kinds of wine. The first was mixed with gall. He refused to taste it. The one he later accepted was wine mixed with myrrh. The wine was lifted up on a stalk of what? Hyssop. It's believed that the use of hyssop at crucifixions may have helped in some small way to ease the suffering of those being crucified, as it is extremely soothing to the lungs when inhaled. So think about that. Victims of crucifixion die from suffocation due to the weight of their own bodies pulling down on them and their lungs filling with fluid. That's how you die of suffocation. It's horrible, horrible, horrible. Hyssop's supportive to the respiratory system and helps break up nasal fluid. As the branch was lifted to his face, the author has no doubt The aroma of hyssop mixed with blood was strikingly similar to the aroma the Israelites smelled as they prepared for the Passover. Wow. So as the hyssop is being lifted up to his face, mixed with his blood, that was the same scent that was going on during Passover. I had to read that to you guys. So when you use hyssop oil in your home, I encourage you to remember you're inhaling the very same aroma our Savior experienced as he gave his life as a ransom for our sins. Commercial break. Yay!
All right.
Biblical
This is a really
essential
great oil victory. This person says, I burned my eyelid with a curling wand. You like a curling iron? Eyelid.
We can fix anything.
The scab, it scabbed over, and I was afraid it was going to leave a bad scar. Dr. Spradlin gave me wheat germ oil to use within 1 use, I already saw improvement a week. A week later, you can barely even see that there was a mark.
Yes.
Wheat germ oil.
Yeah. Totally. Thank you, darling. So lesson right there. A, wheat germ oil works, and B, don't try to curl your eyelashes. I know. I'm just... 5 minutes later, you're laughing. See, we can fix anything. We can fix anything. Most oils are microbicides. So, yeah, just a summary. Most oils are microbicides. That means microorganisms. So fungus, virus, bacteria, yeast, all that stuff. They do not have negative side effects like synthetic drugs or chemical pharmaceuticals. You can't smell liquids or solids, but you can smell gases. And most of the molecules, like what we were talking about over here, in chemotherapy, are too large to pass the blood-brain barrier. That's why doctors say chemo doesn't work with brain cancer. Oils are small enough and lipid soluble, like we were talking about. They're lipid soluble, so they can pass through that phospholipid membrane of all of your cells. They're fat soluble. You are made of what? Fat and protein to varying degrees. So we've got something that can get into your cells. We've got something that can be transported to your blood-brain barrier and get in there where chemotherapy drugs can't go. Isn't that great? Yay! And so in closing, last thing I'll do is go through some of the things that I do to help out. And you can address any questions or anything. Some of you in here are already on our team. You know what we're doing. You're signed up. You see it as, hey, I can get some oils, and I can get away from the toxic pharmaceuticals, or hey, I can tell my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law and everybody else and get them signed up so that they can not only be part of the solution instead of part of the problem, but they can make a little side hustle while they're doing it. So if you've ever asked, this is something we had up on the front table there, and I said, oh, this is something good to cover. If you've ever asked, what personal care products can I use that are non-toxic? If you've ever asked, are there cleaning products that are safe for me and my family? If you've ever asked, should I be using essential oils? We can help. Ask us about the many products for you, your family, your pets, your kids, your home, cleaning stuff, makeup stuff, hair stuff, bathroom stuff, all kinds of stuff. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, deodorant, toothpaste, mouthwash, lotion, dish soap. If any of you are hungry for dish soap, laundry detergent, household cleaner. The household cleaner is phenomenal. Children's products, pet products, skincare, makeup. After years of research and buying products from many vendors and locations, this is me talking, we now have simple solutions for everything you see above. So if you have questions about any of that, touch base with Nadia up front at the front desk. She can answer a lot of questions. Last little thing, 5 big things I do. Number 1, and we don't have slides for this. Number 1, these are just 5 things I thought off the top of my head. How I incorporate oils into my daily life. So things that you don't have to just buy your starter kit and leave it on a shelf thinking that you have to use it all up by sniffing it, like I did, or by putting it in a diffuser. What do? I replace soft drinks. I do this with patients too. We replace soft drinks with oils. You know, it's not going to be as sweet, but you don't need that anyway. Put some lemon, put some lime in there, put some grapefruit. There's all kinds of oils that put geranium in there. There's like a sweet scent to some of the stuff. And actually only if it's, I'm supposed to say this, only if it's vitality. Only if it's vitality. I have to say that. Lemon, peppermint helps stress, fever, infections, or you can put it in yeah, I love being monitored. You put it in capsules, put a couple drops in a capsule and then swallow the capsule. Or if it says vitality on the label, talk to me about that if you have questions about what I mean by that. If it says vitality on the label, you can just drip it into your coffee, water, tea, or food. Okay? Lemon and peppermint, we're talking about anything, stress, fever, infections. I've got some resources too if you guys want to know. How can you know what oils help or support your body, certain immune system, or this lungs, heart? How can you know? We can answer those questions when we're done. Obesity, insomnia, skin problems. Lemon. Lemon will take how many of you use Goo Gone to get sticky stuff off your books and things like that? Not anymore, right? Yeah, take some lemon oil and watch how fast that works. And you go, a couple drops of lemon oil or a $12 bottle of Goo Gone. Interesting. And look at the chemicals in Goo Gone and look at the chemicals in lemon. Very interesting. Add ginger, nutmeg. Here's my number 2. This is a big one. You guys are going to thank me. You're welcome. Add ginger, nutmeg, clove, oregano, thyme, basil, whatever you want. Or tea, or thyme, or whatever, to coffee or to tea. And of course, only if it's a label, if it's a bottle, a Vitality bottle. Okay? We'll explain what that means in a minute. Okay? Rosemary supports liver, phase 1, phase 2 detox pathways. Mary, Mary, the mother of Jesus, is said to have spread her blue cloak over a rosemary bush. This is how rosemary got its name. Spread her blue cloak over a rosemary bush as she rested. The white flowers turned blue. Interesting, right? It became known as the Rose of Mary. It's now called rosemary. I found that and I thought, I have to share that. I did not know that. So there's another little feather in your cap for the value of what you paid to get in here tonight. So this could be a myth, right? But it sounds good, doesn't it? It could be a myth. Number 3, use thieves. This is huge. I always did my veggies for my shakes in the morning or your salads at dinner. This is huge. Huge. This is going to be huge. And you can use the thieves fruit and veggie soak to spray on your vegetables, run some water, put it in a bowl or something like that, come back in a few minutes, and the thieves has not only cleaned your bowl wonderfully, but it's also cleaned your vegetables. That's the number 3 thing I do. So once I started figuring out uses for all this other stuff, I went, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. Why am I not doing this? Number 4, replace your soaps and detergents. Half the time when people are having allergies or skin problems, eczema, dermatitis, I just ask them, what kind of soap are you using? Now I don't have to do that anymore because every new patient, we start out with a Freedom Kit. So we say, here's the deal. Instead of asking questions about deodorant and soap and toothpaste and all this other nonsense, the mouthwash and stuff like that, I just say, here's a little chunk in your kit, in your sign-up thing when you first start as a new patient. Here's this. Start using them. If you like them, great. If you don't like them, I'll take them back. Either way, just use them. So replace your soaps and detergents because the soaps and detergents are the biggest things. The soap, you put it on your skin, where's it go? Into your blood, right? Detergents. You put it on your clothes. Where's it go? Boom. So you have to start there. Start there, okay? Number 4. Number 4. Use oils for skin moisturizer depending upon specific needs. Use oils for skin moisturizer depending on specific needs. So you can put a carrier oil and then drop your specific oils in there, or you can just use specific oils. Everybody's different. Some people, lavender works great. Some people, frankincense works great. Some people, your carrier oil could be almond, it could be coconut oil, it could be any number of carrier oils. I just use what they have prepared. They have a V6 carrier oil that I use because that is all 6 V6. There's 6 different carrier oils in that one. Guess what's in that carrier oil? What was the oil you just mentioned, Caitlin? Wheat germ oil is in that carrier oil, along with coconut and almond and a couple other olive oil in there. And number 5. I'm going to do that all the time from now on. I'm going to do that all the time. People are going to think I'm crazy. I have not found one oil yet that does not make, I mentioned this earlier, does not make mosquitoes fry circuits. The minute they try, I step out on my patio, at the end of the night, whatever, just reading a book and just chilling from being done working, and you will not see a mosquito near you. I've not found one oil yet that doesn't work like gangbusters for that. And not just citronella. People think, oh yeah, that's good for that. It is, but it's not just that. It's necessary more than ever with the advent of genetically modified mosquitoes feeding you, pumping you full of genetically modified viruses. All right, that's about it for me. Did you all learn anything?
Yes.
Any questions before we sign off Facebook? Jane, how's your mouth feel right now?
Tingling. Have you come across in your studies what kind of oil would have been in the anointing jar that Mary broke?
Yes,
Ooh.
spikenard. We talked about that, yeah. Spikenard, yeah. Oh, that could have been sold for a year's wages. Why'd you do that? We could have fed the poor. Spikenard. Yep. And as it stands right now, unless I'm wrong, things are always changing. Young Living does not have spikenard available right now. And it's been quite a while. But Ashley, patient Ashley, heard that we were doing this class, and she said, here, you're doing the biblical oils class. Here's spikenard and here's galbanum. You can't get them anymore. Graciously brought them in, and we shared them, passed them around last time.
Galbanum, is that gall?
Galbanum, I don't remember. Can you see if galbanum is in? I think it was. Wasn't it just a minute ago? Huh? Yeah, I think it's in.
Yeah.
I think it's in. Yeah. Ferula gamosa.
So what?
Stems, branches.
Something on spikenard?
I do. I've got some stuff. Information, you mean? Yes, I can get it to you. Absolutely. Good question. Good question. Galbanum, I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to look into that. I bet I could find it, though. Okay, that's a good question. Write that down, and I'll get you the answer. Don't let me forget, and I'll get you some information, too, on spikenard. Another...
We have a Facebook question from Barbie.
Ooh.
She's
Facebook
asking, what essential oils do you recommend for vertigo? She's been suffering for a while, and she's tried a couple oils.
Well, there's that tricky question again, because I can't recommend stuff over. What I would do is test people. For vertigo, it can be any number of things. I can't really recommend because there's no doctor-patient relationship. I can't give you medical advice. But what I can do is say, if you have the essential oil desk reference book, start there. Little tiny essential oils desk reference book. They're like $15. How many of you in here have one of those? 3, 4, yes. They're a little handheld book like this, and you can look up a lot of stuff in there that will help you. Now, there will be, you look up vertigo or something in there, oils that will help or support your nervous system in the cases of vertigo. You can look in there and see that there'll be like 40 oils listed. It's a little overwhelming. So, and some of them are blends, some of them are singles. So what we do here, to answer your question, I don't really recommend an oil for a certain problem. What we do is, say if Jane and if Brittany had vertigo, 2 separate vertigos, it's not going to happen. But if they had 2 separate vertigos, because your vertigo would not be the same as your vertigo, we would test them and figure out what specific oil their body wants. And it might be an oral thing, it might be a topical thing, or it might just be an aromatic thing. Let me make sure I answered this. What essential oils do you recommend for vertigo? Anything that would, I can say this though, Barbie, anything that would support your ears, anything that would support, and basically what I'm saying by that is anything that would support nervous system health, neuronal health and or brain health, such as like helichrysum and frankincense and things that permeate and get into and help restore nerve function. Been suffering from sinus issues for 1 month. I've been applying peppermint, but can't really tell it's doing anything. There's the answer to your question. You've been using peppermint. What I'd start with there. Uh-oh. 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 Yeah, it's a Diane. So what I can say there, if you've been suffering from sinus issues for 1 month, 99.9% of the time, sinus issues are diet related. You're eating bread, you're eating noodles, you're eating rice, you're eating cake, candy, pasta, you're eating soy stuff, whatever, and your sinuses, it's just liquid is backing up that can't flow out. Liquid is backing up into your sinuses. Your sinuses aren't an organ, they're a space. They're an empty space in your body. They're a cavity. So they're going to fill up with toxic fluid if you can't drain it out. So the reason that people just can't drain it out most of the time is because they're eating things that are plugging up their drainage channels. So if you're using peppermint, that's why we would test, because you're reading that peppermint is good for sinuses, and that's good. Like I said before, if you're trying, I'm a fan. So you're reading things that are trying to help you with the sinus stuff. But if peppermint's not working, guess what? There's another cause or there's another oil that would help you. Oh, what was the one too? Expectorant, and it was mucus secretions, mucus, expelling mucus. What was that? That was one of the ones, hyssop. It was hyssop. Out of what we covered tonight, I can't tell you this because we just covered it. Modern uses. Oh, nope, maybe it was Cassia. Maybe that was the one before, Jonathan? Anybody remember? I thought it was hyssop. Yeah, no, maybe it was, nope, that's Annika. Well, maybe it was the one before. I know I saw it. There was one. I mentioned something. Maybe it was the, no? Aloes. Next one to the right. Nope, next one to the right. There we go. Nope. Go right again. Next.
I think it was the first one.
Oh, was it?
I don't know.
You might be right. You've got the answer key.
Frankincense.
Oh, yeah. Oh, expectorant. Yeah, immune support. I did mention frankincense. And like I said, Barbie, when in doubt, frank it out. Frank it out. Yep. So that's a good question. Any other questions on Facebook or anything? Okay. Yes, Jane.
How do you determine which form to use, whether aromatic or direct, topical, or internal?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. How do you determine, so to repeat the question Jane was saying, how do you determine which of the three ways to use? Topically, aromatically, or orally? Great question. If there's a certain thing that you're dealing with, you want to get it on your body and in your body. So if there's a certain thing you're dealing with, say muscle pain or back pain or something like that, and you want, or say a foot, you tripped while you were flying way too hard and you botched the landing and you tripped on hurt your foot. You hurt your foot. If you hurt your foot, yeah, I'm going to tell you 5 reasons. Jeez, it's been a long day, man. So you want to get it on your body and in your body. So the topically and the orally would be that route. If you want just peace and calming in your house and you want to keep the evil spirits and the bad mother-in-laws away and things like that, that would be aromatically. Or if you want just all of your stuff in your house to smell and you want to make sure that you never see a bug in your house, aromatically. If you want to just enjoy the presence and the scent, and you want to run over and take a big hit off of your diffuser every once in a while in the middle of your day, so like recently, for instance, I've been using different things because of all the chaos and the nonsense that's going on. I've been using thieves in my diffuser at home. I've never have done that before. I've just been saving thieves for internal and oral. But recently I've been thinking, I might as well just use it aromatically, and I've loved it. You know, I just never used thieves that much aromatically. I thought it was a cleaning thing and more of an internal thing, but no, I've been using it to keep the bad people away. And it's worked. So it would just be based on and you can aromatically smell, taste, and sense, the 3, see? Smell, smell, touch, and taste. Essential oils aren't so much for taste as they are for getting in your digestive system and into your bloodstream. So it just depends on how you want to stimulate those areas of those senses out of the 5 that you have, really. It's endless. It's endless. But we can test people and figure out if that's okay, they tested for this situation, they tested for this oil, they tested for this dosage. Is that an oral dosage or is that a topical dosage? So we can figure that out fairly easily. Does that answer your question? Any other questions? Steve, what's your question? I can see the question mark hanging over your head.
Yeah,
It's a big one.
it's a big one.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Double fire hose?
double fire hose.
Again!
Again.
2 weeks in a row. Steve came last week, and I saw him on Monday or Tuesday, and said, Steve, what did you learn last night? And he just kind of speechless. It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
He said, well, it was like drinking from a fire hose with both ears. It's like drinking from a fire hose with both ears.
3, 5.
Just like what I did. Both ears. Drinking from a fire hose with both ears. Question. Oh, I thought you had a question. Anybody? Going once, going twice. Anybody who's never been here and wants a tour, stick around and we'll give you a tour. We won't even run you off. We'll just answer all your questions. Anything else? Any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, ideas? Oh, we got giveaways, freebies? Yes, more freebies. And we'll sign off Facebook. Anything else before we sign off? No? Oh. We will see you May 18th. That's Monday, May 18th at 6 p.m. We are doing the ABCs of CBD. You will want to tell your friends, family, neighbors, and people you don't like, and your dogs and your cats, everybody, get them here. ABCs of CBD. You at least, even if you don't plan on ever using it, you at least need to know the history of it, why it was demonized, and what it's capable of, and why it's one of the most important discoveries in medicine in a long time, and why it's been so suppressed. Okay? You need to know that. Anything else? Signing off. And we'll be right back too. We're going to cut this video, and then we're going to, whoever's spinning, you get your spinners ready, because we're going to spin. Okay? Ready? We're going to spin. That's what I said. She's talking back and forth. All right. Anybody else? Thank you. Dr. Brett Spradlin. I'm here. You guys are talking to me. Dr. Brett Spradlin, Divine Design Natural Health. Thank you very much, and we will see you in just a few minutes for the spin, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for ABCs of CBD. Thank you very much. Yay! Woo! There we go.